Hi, Tony from the Clearview Hypnotherapy Centre here. A bit of an impromptu video. I was going through some stuff in my files and came across this video that I must have done 3 or 4 months ago, 5 months ago. The story behind it is a very good friend of mine had a family member who had a real issue. I'm not going to go into the issue for privacy. They said, can you do something? She doesn't want to see anybody, but is there anything you can do? Send her a message, send her this, is there anything you can do? So what I thought I'd do a little video to try and speak to her directly. And from there, if she then decided she wanted to then actually see somebody, it was great. But the family members were so concerned, they wanted to do something. So I did brush up. I quickly did it. It's very, very impromptu. I just threw some lights behind me, so it's not the best quality. It's just as it is, talking to that particular person directly. What I've done, I thought I'd pass that on to you, and the reason I know the actual time scale, one, it's on the computer file anyway, but two, I mentioned the phrase state of alarm, and the state of alarm being the lockdown in Spain here. So that was right at the beginning, so kind of March, April time. But I just thought I would share it. What I've done to protect the person involved, obviously I'm speaking to her directly, I mentioned her name. So what I've done is I've bleeped out the name. It's not that I'm swearing. I bleeped out the name and put a little cross over my mouth, just so you can't make out the name, and just to protect her privacy. Listen, have a look at it. It's a little bit longer than I normally like to try and do videos about 3 or 4 minutes. This one is quite a long video. But it explains a few things which I thought people might find interesting. But as I said to this person at the end of the video, anytime you want to switch off, fine. But listen, have a fantastic day. Have the best day you can. And if you can't, give me a call. Hi, my name's Tony, and I'm over here on the Costa del Sol, and I run the Clearview Hypnotherapy Centre. And one of the reasons I wanted to get into this kind of work was to help people. And there are lots and lots of things going on in the world today that people need help with. Maybe they don't realise they do. Some people do, some people don't. And what we can do is help people who do have maybe certain issues like smoking, overweight, I have to breathe in when I say that, overweight and sometimes anxiety and past trauma issues and that kind of thing. One of the fantastic things about what I do is sometimes when people go to seek some kind of assistance or they feel they need some kind of help, is they maybe go to their doctors who then have to refer them to somebody else. This all takes time. And then when they get to the person they're being referred to, they then have to spill their guts about what's happened in the past and explain their anxiety or explain whatever it is they need to explain. And what that does is it just brings it all back at the heat of that moment. And also you may not feel comfortable telling everybody about your life to a complete stranger. So the wonderful thing about the hypnotherapy that I do is it's content free. It's called Kinetic Shift, and it's absolutely content free. And what that means is I don't need to know your issue. I don't need to know what's bothering you. I don't need to know about your childhood and all that kind of stuff. It's just content free. So it basically means that anyone who comes to one of my sessions, we put them into hypnosis, and that hypnosis is a natural state. I'll tell you about that in a second. But we put them into hypnosis, and I let your subconscious, and I guide you and your subconscious to help yourself and to make changes for yourself as well. So that's basically what we're going to be doing with all my customers now and in the future, unless people want to tell me. When they do start to tell me, I ask them to stop because I don't need to know. Now, hypnosis is a wonderful thing. It's been around for God knows how many years, thousands of years, and it's starting to get recognized now by the medical industry. It's used by doctors, by dentists. You can have your teeth out now without having anesthetic, as long as you're under good hypnosis. And so what we can do with hypnosis is help people and help them with their issues. And how that works is it's an amazing thing, really is an amazing thing. How that works, working with your subconscious, because your conscious tends to take over. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Everyone in their head's got a brain, and you have two sides. You have the left side, or one side, which is your intellectual side, and then you have the other side, which is the emotional side. And in the middle here, you've got something called the amygdala, which I'll go on to later. I'm not going to bore you with all the technical details and all the chemicals and bits and pieces and all the biological stuff. But on this side, you've got your intellectual brain, and on this side, you've got the emotional brain. Now, when there's conflict between the emotion and the intellect, the emotion always wins every single time. I'll give you an example. Let's say you've had a row with somebody, you go storming out and you're shouting and screaming and everything's getting fired up. Your emotions are really running high. And basically your emotions are on top. They're winning against your intellectual side. Now you go down the road, take a walk, take a breath, 10 minutes later, an hour later, your intellectual side kicks in and says, well, why did I say all them things? I didn't mean to say all them things. Why did I? Oh, no, right, I'd better go back. Because your intellect side is now calming down, your emotional side. But whenever there's conflict between the emotion and the intellect and the emotional side always wins. And our emotional side dictates quite a lot of things we do. Our subconscious, monkey brain if you want to call it, dictates a lot of what we do. I'll give you an example. Work with me on this if you want to. You don't have to. But just take a deep breath in. Close your eyes. It's all right, you're perfectly safe. Close your eyes and just hold your hand out in front of you so your palm is up. And what I'd like you to do, just take a deep breath in, deep breath out, just so you're nice and relaxed. You're not going to go into hypnosis, don't worry. And I want your imagination, your powerful imagination now, just to imagine in your upturned palm, I put a great big, heavy, juicy lemon in your palm. And I want you to imagine that. I want you to imagine that now. Okay, just take a deep breath in again, deep breath out, and just imagine and only imagine how that lemon feels in your hand. Just feel the shape of it, feel the weight of it. Wonderful. And just using your powerful imagination, just feel it in your hand. What I'd like you to do now is bring it up to your nose. Keep your eyes closed still, because I want your imagination to really, really fire up on this. And I'd like you to smell that zesty lemon, that juicy, citrusy smell, that fresh, just picked off the tree lemon smell. It's been raining all night, there's a little bit of dew on it, and you can just smell that lemon in front of your nose. And in a moment, but not just yet, I'm going to ask you to take a great big bite out of the lemon. Okay, and I want you probably feel now some of your juices starting in your mouth, and what I'd like to do now is just imagine now, and only imagine now, you're just taking a great big chunk, and seriously, just imagine you're biting that lemon, and you're just feeling all those citrusy juices coming into the back of your throat, and then all your saliva glands are starting to work overtime, and wonderful, you can open your eyes now. What I'd like you to ask yourself, these three questions. Did you feel the lemon? Did you feel it in your hand? Did you smell the lemon? And did you taste the lemon? Okay. If you did any of those three, that's perfectly fine. Your imagination is wonderful. But just look in your hand. Where is the lemon? There isn't one. And if you felt any of the taste, the weight, or the smell of it, then that's your emotional side winning over your electoral side. An intellectual side, not your electoral side, your intellectual side. Okay, so basically your emotion is saying, God, I can smell this lemon, I can feel it in my hand, I can taste it go down my throat, and your intellectual side is saying, tell that Tony to shut up, there's nothing in your hand. Basically, very, very simply, the intellectual side comes in afterwards, knowing that there wasn't a lemon, but your intellectual side knew there wasn't a lemon there. The emotional side just overrode the actual, the intellectual side. So that's very, very important. That's how sometimes when people have issues with weight, issues with smoking, issues with anxiety, they're all emotional lemons. And all we have to do as hypnotherapists or hypnotists, however you want to look at it, whatever word you want to use, all we do is we take the emotional lemon out of your subconscious. I'll tell you what I mean. That little bit in the middle I was talking about, called the amygdala, it sits just behind the nose in the brain. And that, we've had that since we were a little caveman. And I'll just represent it by this, not the correct size. But this sits behind our nose. It's called the amygdala. And basically it just fires up millions and millions of times a second. And it just goes fight, flight, freeze, fight, flight, freeze, fight, fight, freeze. It's easy for me to say. And what this does, it's there to protect you, and it's there to look after you. Is there danger? Am I safe? Am I in trouble? Is there danger? Do I need to go away? And what happens sometimes is your emotions are spiked. So let's say you're just walking down a road and a dog barks at you, and all of a sudden your amygdala, going from this, goes to this, and it fires up, and it just, right, am I safe? Am I in danger? Am I in trouble? It fires up. Can't hold it properly. Let's do it this way. Okay, it just fires up. Now, when the amygdala fires up, a little bit behind your nose, it sends off all the adrenaline shooting into your brains. It sends all the chemicals, the cortisol shooting into your brains. It also sends electrical signals around your brain, and it does one of three things. It asks you, flight, do I need to run away from this situation? Fight, do I need to fight it verbally or physically? A lot of people obviously now today fight verbally, and some people do physically, unfortunately. So you'll be shouting, you'll be screaming. Or do I freeze? And when you freeze, you curl up in a little ball, make it go away, make it go away. And that's what this amygdala does. Excuse me, every time it opens up, it fires off all these feelings, these emotions, these chemicals, these electricals, the cortisols, the adrenaline. And it's only till a little bit later, when the danger has gone away, that this goes back and goes back to normal. Fight, flight, freeze, fight, flight, freeze. Am I safe? Am I okay? Am I fine? Is there any danger? The problem is, as we grow older, and as we develop and experience emotions and situations, arguments, a dog running over you and biting your leg, burning your hand, those emotions are remembered by your subconscious, but they are in your subconscious. And what they do is they get stuck in here. So you could be, right, an argument with mum and dad, a holiday that didn't go right, and all these things. I burnt my hand, and this gets stuck in here, and this gets stuck in here, and this gets stuck in here. And what happens then is this amygdala can't work properly. So it's constantly in a state of alarm, as we've had over here in Spain, state of alarm. And what that's doing all the time is sending electrical stimulants, all the cortisols, all the adrenaline constantly. And we can't live like that, because well, I'll come back to that later. What we need to do is get all the emotional lemons out, so it goes back down, so you're back to normal, whatever normal is these days. And I'll tell you what I mean. By firing up all those electrical, we are just made of electrical impulses. We're all made of everything's made of electrical impulses. And I'll show you what I mean. I have a little light stick. I don't know if you can see this here. There's no buttons on it, but basically it's got some little bulbs on the inside. And we need electric to set the bulb up. So all I'm going to do is just hold one of the silver ends, just an electrical conductor. But we need to turn the electric switch on. And so all we do is that. I can't get this going without electric. So that's just to prove that we just have electrical stimulants and electrical signals going all around our body all the time. And every time I touch this, excuse me, it's firing off. It's just going. And this is what's happening when your amygdala stays open all the time. It's just sending all those electrical impulses going around your body and putting you in a state of maybe anxiety, anxiousness, or on edge all the time. Something's going to happen. You're thinking something's going to happen. 9 times out of 10 it doesn't. But the emotional feeling you get tells you that it is. The intellectual side says, yeah, it's not really going to happen, but I'm going to worry about it anyway. That's just putting it very, very simply in layman's terms. So we've got the amygdala, which we need to get down to this, and we've got the electrical stimulants firing up all the way around us, causing us a state of anxiety, anxiousness, and on edge all the time. And what happens, my drawing's not very good, so bear with me. What happens, that little pressure pot just kicks in. So it's like a little well, I'll see if I can show you my drawings. So this is your pressure pot. You've got all the little fire burning underneath your pressure pot. Now we need a certain amount of stress in our lives to keep us safe. We need to know what's right and we need to know what's wrong. But what happens as we grow older, events take over. This happens, causing us a little bit of annoyance. This happens, this happens, this happens. Then another thing happens, then another thing happens, then another thing happens. And then this happens on top. And all of a sudden, the pressure pot is full. And if we don't release that pressure, that's when people can have serious issues or problems on a day-to-day basis. Okay, what we don't want to do, we don't want to be messed about with chemicals, tablets, medication. We can do this very simply. You can do this very simply yourselves. Anyone can do it very, very simply. So all we have to do through hypnosis is just release this pressure pot and get that pressure all the way down to a working level, which is about here. We need that little bit of pressure to keep us going. So a lot of people use hypnosis. A lot of sports people use hypnosis. Hypnosis is used for good stuff as well as relieving stuff as well. So you get all your sports people who want to just do that extra second, that extra millisecond, that extra quarter of a second when they're running, that extra distance, that extra mile. And it's all in this, if we can think we can do it, we will. And the subconscious is such an underrated tool. The brain is such an underrated tool because it does so much for us. And hypnosis, like I say, has been around for such a long time. But let me tell you something about hypnosis. It's all self-hypnosis. I'm not a magic witch doctor. It's not voodoo. I can't just click my fingers and all of a sudden you just go to sleep. It can't be done. People have to want hypnosis. It's like an exercise. It's like meditation. It's been around for thousands and thousands of years. So people who want hypnosis have to want hypnosis. It's like going to the gym. I want to go to the gym, but nothing happens until you go. But when you get there, you find it works well. All the good chemicals, endorphins, are shooting around your brain when you're exercising. You feel good. And basically, by reducing that amygdala and stop those electrical systems and the adrenalines and the bad chemicals in your body that put you in a state of alarm, once we get rid of them, you can then, or most people can then get back to being how they want to be. So hypnosis is all self-hypnosis. I'm just a guide. Listen to Lula, I hope you're having a wonderful day. You can turn this off any time you want. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a little, I was going to say tape, shows you how old I am. I'm just going to make a little recording just to have a listen to. It's going to be nothing fantastic or magical, just a little relaxation thing, and just it helps a lot of people with a lot of issues. And you can turn it off any time you want. You don't need to do anything that you don't want to. Don't worry about hypnosis. Hypnosis is not a thing where you can be controlled. I can assure you of that. If at any time anyone's in hypnosis and they want to leave me, or they want to open their eyes and leave the room, or they hear a suggestion that they don't like, that's another thing. Your subconscious really, really can look after you if you allow it to, once you get that amygdala down to its proper working state. And so by using hypnosis, we can control a little bit, but you will not be lost in hypnosis. What happens if someone's been hypnotized and the hypnotherapist has a heart attack and dies? Within 3 or 4 minutes, that person who's under hypnosis will just wake up naturally. It's just that little bit. Hypnosis, you're in hypnosis every day. When you wake up, when you go to sleep, everyone's the same. It's that you've got that sleep here, and you've got that awake, just getting to sleep, nearly getting to sleep, and then there's this little bit between awake and sleep and true sleep, just down here, that little bit where you have your dreams. And that's usually in the morning or just before you go to sleep. And that's when your subconscious is having fun, because the subconscious is like a little child and it just likes to have fun, and it takes the easy way out. The subconscious always looks for the easy way out, always looks for the best way for the subconscious, which we'll go into a little bit later if you wish to. So Have a fantastic day. I hope you're doing great. And like I say, this is for you. This is just for you. And if you want to switch off at any point, switch off. You're in control, absolute control. Listen, you take care of yourself. My name's Tony. I'm at the Clearview Hypnotherapy Centre over here in Costa del Sol. If you want to ask me any questions, you know, send me an email. You can phone me or get in touch with me, whatever you want to do. It's no big deal. And if you don't, that's absolutely fine. So you take care of yourself, and I'll catch up with you soon or not. You take care. Bye.